I enjoy quite a few things about running a business, in particular the way in which it helps people and seeing the difference a really good job makes, but also seeing people solve problems creatively and create beautiful things like the cards that they make. Yeah, all of those, it brings me a lot of joy, and others too.
I enjoy the fact that I can do something I love and it seems to bless people, and I still can't quite believe that I get to spend my time doing this.
I like the buzz of selling. I know for a lot of creatives, I like the buzz of seeing someone in one of my garments, and enjoying it and wearing it and taking pleasure in it. And I think art is there to be enjoyed. Creativity is there for people to engage with. And for me, that's a really good part of what I do.
The thing I love most about doing business is that I can do what I want to do when I want to do it, really. And what I love seeing is people's lives drawn closer to Jesus. And because I'm the boss, I can concentrate on that and I can make that happen. I'm not bowed by having to work 9 to 5 and do a particular job, but I can set the agenda. So we all meet every morning and pray together. That's down to me. We can do anything like that I feel God wants us to do.
So I feel most alive when I see with a client that light bulb moment when they suddenly get something. Usually, whether it's covert or overt, it's a result of something that God has given me that I have shared with the person, but that is just, I would do it for nothing.
After I've had a coffee at 9 o'clock in the morning. But no, the real purpose for me of the business, despite being an accounting practice where we have a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of numbers, is about the people. The thing that, the why I get up in the morning is for the people that I'm going to interact with. It's the clients, the colleagues, the suppliers.
For me, it would probably be singing and playing the harp, because that is the one time when I forget to eat. And so that I know if I forgot to eat, I'm really engaged with what I'm doing. And I love composing and I love arranging. I guess the life I've now created, having given up full-time work and being self-employed, I can actually have time to do those. Those things are hard to do if you've just got 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. You need expanses of time and you need to put stuff in so that good stuff comes out.
What I found most difficult about running Cards from Africa is the concern of where is our next sales going to come from and whether we're going to have enough sales to keep everyone in employment for the months and years to come. And that's always a real concern, and it sort of drives us forward to keep making sure that we're on the forefront of beautiful designs and we're doing as much as we can to find new avenues for cards.
I think the hardest thing is there is so much to do and I find it hard to know what to prioritise.
I've now had my business since 2004, so it's a number of years, and so just sustaining yourself, motivating yourself kind of week in, week out, season on season, I think can be a real challenge. And for that reason, my business has adjusted. There have been peaks and troughs, but because ultimately I can make those decisions, it means that I can kind of adjust things according to kind of lifestyle and life pressures outside as well. But that definitely has an impact.
Making the books balance, feeling the weight of responsibility of that, which has always felt heavy, and ever increasingly the numbers feel bigger and bigger, and that feels daunting. I think the hardest thing is knowing that it's people's lives and that matters, but the joy of that is that it's people's lives and that matters as well.
Probably the administration, because that just doesn't interest me as much, although I know it's really important to keep on top of it.
That's an interesting question, because what I find most difficult is also what I find most enjoyable. It's the people. And I look at myself and I say that as well. Sometimes the people can be invigorating, but also aggravating or frustrating.
Well, the overriding emotion is one of thankfulness. So every Monday morning, I am just very grateful that I'm not going into school and doing a full-time week of teaching. So I think any challenges pale into insignificance.
Because we focused on producing high quality greeting cards, and it's the quality that sells, and refreshing the designs every year. The story behind the cards is an added bonus factor, but that's not what has kept the business alive. It's been quality and consistency.
God is blessing my business. I really believe that. I think I'm someone who takes risks, is happy to give things a try, and that takes things further than maybe people who would just not want to or just feel too nervous to. Also, I have a number of strings to my bow, so I'm not just trying to sell my paintings, I also do teaching and events, so I've got different sources of income that support each other, which helps different times of year, different seasons.
I think integrity is a really important thing. You know, at the end of the day, whether we're selling £1 million a season or we're doing 100,000, ultimately it's about kind of integrity and being true to yourself, but also, you know, utilising the gift, the talents. And I think ultimately, if you are doing that and using those talents, then actually those things will multiply, they will grow, and they will be sustained.
The main reason my business is doing well is because God is at the centre of it, and I have brought my heart, or He has brought my heart into line with His, and we're looking to serve people, bless people and honour people as we do what He's called us to do.
Probably because I'm being obedient and listening to God. If I'm really honest, you know, it's a daily checking in with Him, walking with Him, partnering with Him. I think that makes all the difference.
The main reason we're doing well is similar to why I enjoy the business. It is people, because if we are doing a good job for the clients, they will then hopefully tell their friends or recommend us. It's about treating people well.
I think the main reason it's doing well is because the way my life now works is totally the Lord's idea. So it's not something that I planned long ago. It's something that has evolved through relationship with Him. I think one reason why it works is if I was teaching one-to-one, 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, I don't think I'd be very good at it. So I think another reason why it works is I'm doing a little amount of teaching, but I have time for lots of other things as well.
I think I have spent some time looking at what my USP is really, and listening to my customers, listening to what it is they like about what I do, why they've bought my work, and leaning into that.
I mean, lots of people, they use social media, they do all sorts of different things. I think for me, it's about kind of word of mouth, again, integrity, building good relationships with people that will sustain a season. Fashion is it comes and goes, people forget things very quickly, they want new things. And I think for me, it's always been about longevity. And that's been a real key aspect of what I do.
I think in many ways it's fair to say we're not exceptional or unique, and lots of other people fit kitchens and fit them well, do extensions and do them well. However, where I think we do is I'm determined to not let money be an issue, to have a good working relationship with the customer, to genuinely care about them and their home, to make sure that we keep a good, clean, tidy site. Those are the areas that I think do make us a bit different.
I think it's about giving them a reflection of Jesus. Clients would often say to me, what is it that's different about you? I think it's how I carry myself. It's things like honour, generosity, kindness, just operating slightly differently to the secular world.
We're not actively trying to stand out from somebody particularly. I think there are some other really good accounting firms in the city, and people have different areas of specialisms. I've in the past had other accountants contact me to say, I've got this client, I think you could sort them out better, or we've gone to specialist tax people and gone, they're asking difficult questions we can't answer, could you sort them out? And you then work together, don't you?
I think in terms of Airbnb, making it stand out is just important that the pictures you have on the Airbnb website are really good. So that I think is important, and obviously the reviews that you have. So we have something like a 96% 5-star review. So I think those are the two things. And I think Airbnb will naturally highlight ones that are doing well. And if you're normally booked and you're not booked, they'll say, oh, this is normally booked, whatever. So in terms of Airbnb, that would be it. I don't think I actively do anything to make teaching and things stand out.
Without a doubt, what has helped me the most is my faith, and God in particular, because He's been someone I've been able to talk to about all of the stuff that we go through, the challenges and the problems. He's inspired us, he's given us wisdom when we've needed it. He's introduced us to key people at key moments of time, which I just look back and think, yeah, that was amazing how that happened.
Yeah, God's really helped me in my business. It's very much a hand in hand with Him thing, which gives me a confidence that whenever I'm lacking in my feeling, inadequate of what's next, I remember that this is His idea, actually, and I go back to Him and say that, this was your idea. I need the next idea. I need the next opening, and it comes.
So I think, I've mentioned the factory that I was based in the early years. They were really significant and fundamental to me being able to kind of continue with the process of production. And even now, although we've changed our business model, I still have that working relationship with them. I think also my accountant as well. There have been times where I've kind of thought, oh no, that's it, I'm just going to stop. But at the end of the day, we'll have a conversation or a chat, and we work as a team. And she's very much helped me to kind of keep the right balance, the right focus.
I think ultimately seeing that God has a plan and that God has ordained it, having a confidence in Him has kept me going. There have been lots of different people that have come in at different points. Getting business coaching was a very helpful thing at one point, but also just having people around that I can talk to, pray with, care about at different points. Different people have come in and given me advice, some of which I've taken, some of which I haven't.
If I'm honest, I would say it's having a husband who supports, whether it was startup or just some of the crazy things that God asks me to do, that I just go and do it, and He just totally releases me. So I think having that family backup is important.
For me, the main support for the business has always been my family, my wife and my kids. They're now grown up, but they've always been very supportive, very encouraging, a good group of friends that provides that sort of sounding board at times as well.
Well, again, because my business is really my life, it would be my husband, my daughter, my parents, my friends, all underpinned by a relationship with God.
Not feeling like you can step off the treadmill. So fashion is very much a treadmill. It's a bit like being a hamster on a wheel. And there are times when I have stepped off very specifically to do that. I felt that I should step away or not do a certain show or not produce a particular collection. And I can remember there was one instance where I really felt like I shouldn't have produced a collection, and I did, almost out of fear, and actually it didn't really sell that well that season. And I almost felt like, well, that was kind of a bit of a waste of time and energy. And I was actually meant to kind of almost recuperate from other things that were going on in life. And God was giving me time for that. And so I think being obedient to what we're hearing in our spirit is really, really important.
The biggest mistake I've made is thinking that business funds are mine to do what I want with. I have a good quality of wanting to bless and help people. People will lend you a lot of money with a business, and that's got me into a lot of mess that I'm still paying off to this day.
There's a fine line of being obedient to God and trying to do things in your own strength. I had a season out of fear of, will I have enough work, where I started partnering as an associate somewhere, and it did come back to bite, and that was a good learning.
The hiring decisions sometimes are tough. You look at somebody and on paper they look awesomely qualified as an accountant, and at interview they come over and can answer all the right questions, but in all honesty there are some people that I've hired in the past that are no longer with the business that were a mistake. And I think when you're looking at hiring, we need to look at more about somebody's personality and their character before looking so much about their qualifications as such, and also how are they going to fit in with your team.
My suppliers, I guess I want a good deal. I'm specific with what I'm looking for, so I need to find that they've got what I'm asking for. But then I need, a good price. I like things delivered to me to save me time, and good service as well. That goes a long way. When there's problems, being able to contact and get in touch with a person you can speak to, and the way they respond, is important.
quality. We work with good quality materials and fabrications. Reliability, honesty, we need suppliers that will deliver on time because we're part of a chain. That's a really fundamental part of delivering product as and when we can.
I would like to build a relationship with them whereby I can come into their shop and talk to them. I want to actually know them as much as possible and have them know me.
Suppliers, we don't have a massive number of suppliers, but I'm looking for integrity, good responsive service, and good communication.
Our builder who built our Airbnb, the reason I chose him was because his quoting was very accurate, and because we had a loan to build Airbnb, I knew that was the amount of money and there wasn't a lot extra, so that's why I went with him. I also knew that in terms of keeping to time, he wasn't very good, but I accepted that because of the other things that he was good at.
To be honest, the environmental side of things isn't something I've considered that much, and maybe something I should look into. Yeah.
So, as Christians, we have a responsibility to look after the world in which we live in and the community that we're in. So the way that we work, in a sense, is quite sustainable. So we produce everything here in London. We're not shipping garments or fabrics around the world before they're produced. Everything is sourced locally. We work with local people, skills, so we're supporting those things as well. But I think in terms of the environment, definitely trying to keep our footprint as kind of small as possible.
I think I care for the environment. I don't do anything directly to care for the environment. As vans move on, then we get the models which are inevitably more environmentally friendly as they go. But in that sense, I am convinced that just by loving people, by paying them well, by encouraging them to do the right thing, that's their responsibility. I don't do anything specifically.
Personally, it is very important to me, but it is quite a difficult one in a business situation when, trying to understand the supply chain of your products, for example, is almost impossible. We make sure we source our energy from a green supplier and become more and more paperless as the years gone on. So that is our limited endeavours in that area.
In terms of the environment, whenever there's an opportunity to buy a more environmentally friendly product, I would always try and go for it. From recycled paper or the cleaning products we use in Airbnb are all environmentally friendly and that sort of thing.
I'm pretty organised, so I weekly sit down and plan my week, look at the key things that need to fit in first. I also look at the I do a 90-day goal, looking at the bigger picture and make sure I'm sticking to that. I review annually. I write lots of lists. I never manage to keep to all the lists I write, but it makes me achieve more than if I didn't.
We make lots of lists. Fashion is very deadline orientated, and so there's always another thing to work towards. I have an administrator who comes in a day a week. She's really good at kind of remembering some of the things that maybe will slip out of my head and keep us on track and things as well. And also we have to prioritise things in terms of orders for clients. So looking at our order sheet and then thinking about, who's at the top of the list basically for delivery.
On a typical day, I'll sit in the office having written out a to-do list for the day or for the week, and the phone will go, and then the phone will go again, and then the phone will go again, and I'll forget where I was on my list. And then I'll have to bring myself back and work out another list again. But writing out to-do lists and then trying to gradually tick my way through them, despite the fact that I know that they'll go out of the window at any given point, is what I try to do.
So, God did not create time wrong. So we need to be aware of how we prioritise. I think busyness, I think running at all sorts of things which are not the priority. I think just time with God, working out what to prioritise is really, really important.
I think over the years I've sort of learned some boundaries. You have to think about what the boundaries are for you, when to say no. Very early on in my career, somebody said to me, that people's perception of what's important and what's urgent are quite different things, you know. So actually try and work out, is it important or is it urgent? Because everybody will tell you something's urgent.
In terms of organising my life, I have an online calendar, which I keep really up to date, and then I have a book where I plan each week before the week starts.